We live in a generation that thinks holiness is a mood and obedience is optional. A generation that wants the blessings of God without the bruises of discipline. A generation that wants to walk with Christ while keeping one foot in the world. But Scripture does not give us that luxury. Scripture calls us to be unspotted, untouched, untainted, uncorrupted by the world's filth. And the only way a man stays unspotted is by fixing his eyes on the Lord, not on comfort, not on convenience, not on the approval of men, on the Lord. Paul understood this better than anyone. He didn't preach contentment from a couch. He preached it from the belly of suffering. He wrote about joy while chained to Roman guards. He spoke of peace after being beaten, stoned, hunted, betrayed, starved, shipwrecked, mocked, and left for dead. He said he knew how to abound and how to be abased, how to live in plenty and how to live in hunger. And in all of it he was content, not because the circumstances were good, but because God was good in every circumstance. Paul didn't bend the will of God to his comfort. He bent his comfort to the will of God. This is where consecration begins, not with comfort, but with surrender, not with ease, but with endurance, not with preference, but with obedience. There are truths in Scripture that modern believers avoid because they cut too deep, truths that expose the difference between a Christian in name and a Christian in surrender. God does not owe you comfort. We act like comfort is a right, like ease is a promise, like God's job is to keep us padded and protected, but Paul's life destroys that lie. And he called it gain, not because he enjoyed pain, but because he trusted the one who allowed it. Contentment is not found in circumstances, it is found in surrender. Paul said he learned to be content in all things, content in hunger, content in cold, content in loss, content in danger, content in uncertainty, content in the will of God. Contentment is not the absence of suffering, it is the absence of rebellion. You cannot be unspotted if you crave the world's approval. The world will stain you the moment you reach for its praise. It will corrupt you the moment you seek its comfort. It will claim you the moment you fear its rejection. A man becomes unspotted only when he fixes his eyes on the Lord and refuses to look away. God uses suffering to separate his people from the world. Suffering is not always an attack. Sometimes it is a scalpel. Sometimes it is a furnace. Sometimes it is the hand of God cutting away what keeps you weak. Paul did not become strong in spite of suffering. He became strong through it. If you refuse the fire, you refuse the transformation. Everyone wants to be used by God. Very few want to be shaped by God. Even fewer want to be broken by God. But the vessel that resists the potter's hands will never carry his glory. You cannot stay as you are. This world will either harden you or humble you. It will either expose you or transform you, but it will not leave you untouched. And do not tell me the trial is too heavy. Do not tell me the pressure is too much. Do not tell me the suffering is beyond what you can bear. God himself has measured your trial. God himself has set its limits. God himself has declared that you can endure it. You are not breaking under the weight. You are breaking under your resistance to his will. There comes a point where a man must stop begging God to make the road smooth and start begging God to make him strong. A point where you stop praying for escape and start praying for endurance. A point where you stop asking God to spare you from the very fire he intends to use to purify you. We have been taught to fear the very things that make us holy, to avoid the pressure that produces patience, to run from the suffering that shapes the saint. But the Scripture does not say, "Blessed are the comfortable." It says, "Blessed are those who endure." If patience is born through pressure, then welcome the pressure. If endurance is forged through hardship, then do not flee the hardship. If holiness is refined in fire, then step into the flame with your eyes open. Pray instead the prayer that breaks the flesh and strengthens the spirit. Lord, bend my will to yours. Burn out what resists you. Strip away what weakens me. Make me faithful in the fire. Because the truth is this: God does not waste suffering. God does not waste pressure. God does not waste loss. God does not waste anything He allows. All things work together for good. It is not a lullaby, it is a decree. Lift your head, set your jaw, and say the words that silence every excuse and every fear. All is as God wills it.